my fellow loomers. So I'm here with a very pretty pattern today. So this is what I'm knitting right now is a pocket scarf. So this is the pocket that I've already knitted, and it is there will be pocket like that. It's actually a patch pocket. So I'll be at the end of the video, I'll show you how I attach here. I knitted it before, knitting the rest of the scarf. It is 10-inch wide and 8-inch height of this patch, and there is a nice leaf cluster motif here. So I'll talk about it later, but for now I'll show you that the scarf it's set on a garter background with a leafy. You see it's not yet blocked, so it's a little crumpled. When it gets blocked, it will show more like a very leafy rib-like panel that runs through the middle of this scarf. I'm working on 7/16 36-inch round loom, 36 peg round loom, and the yarn I've used it's a chunky yarn and wool blend, and it's some brand that is Lara wool blend. But if we're talking about the thickness, it's a thick yarn, not super chunky, but it's chunky yarn. So let me go and let's introduce the pattern. It is 10 stitch and 8 rows pattern. It's very simple, and it is using a technique which is abbreviated as K3 tog, that is knit 3 together. And all the knit 3 together is happening is knitted at the left side of the pattern, and then there are 2 yarn overs on every eyelet row. There are 4 eyelet rows, row 1, row 3, row 5, and row 7, which formulates this beautiful leafy panel. So in this video I will demonstrate the eyelet rows only. So let's begin. So I've started knitting the first row of this 8-row pattern, and if you are knitting the scarf, you will know that from peg 1 to 14 is simple garter stitch, and then the pattern begins from peg 14 and the pattern ends at peg 23. Right, this is the 10 peg pattern, and I'll be demonstrating only this 10 peg pattern. And once you know it, you can place in on any kind of knit. So I'm knitting the first row of the pattern. The first row is yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 3 together, and then 6 units. All the knits in the pattern is unit. So yarn over is on peg 1 and peg 3, and SSK, which is the K3 tog, that is knit 3 together, is on peg 4. So for this kind of pattern, we will start working from the peg on which we are creating the knit 3 together, and we'll do it by moving a stitch from peg 4 to peg 3 to peg 4 and placing the original stitch of peg 4 back, and then moving the stitch 1 and 2 to the next 2 stitches. Now this kind of knitting and shifting of the stitches is called knitting in layers, because we created the one empty peg on peg 1. We need one more empty peg on peg 3, so we will move again. Now we have yarn over, 1 unit, yarn over, and knit 3 together on peg 4. Let's see. Yarn over, we are creating yarn over by simply passing the working yarn in front of the empty peg and knitting it on the peg 2. 1 more yarn over and knit 3 together. And then there are simply 6 units. Unit 1, unit 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This completes the first row. We're knitting row 2 now. I want you to draw your attention to the fact that the knitting is, we are knitting from left to right. This is the left peg and this is the right peg, right? Right peg and left peg. So white peg is the left peg, and we are starting from the knit goes from left to right. And the odd rows, which are all unit rows, goes from right to left. So now I'm on row 2, and on row 2 the eyelets are on pegs 2 and peg 4, and SSK is on peg 6. So it is knit 1, and then eyelet is on peg 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lift the stitch on peg 6, bring the stitch from peg 5 to peg 6 and replace the stitch of peg 6 back to it, and move all the stitches which are not knitted towards the forward towards the left side. And this is the first layer. There is a peg empty on second peg for the eyelet, and now the second layer of shifting the stitches again from peg 5 to 6 and 4 to 5 and 3 to 4. Sorry, no, we don't want to move 3 to 4. Now peg second is free for eyelet and peg 4 is free for eyelet. This is the row setup, and then there are 4 units. So let's start knitting. Yarn over, unit, yarn over, unit, and then knit 3 together, K3 top, and 4 units. Knit 1, unit 2, unit 3, and unit 4. So row 4 is the third row, which is the eyelet row, is complete. Knitting row 5 now, which is knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2, and knit 3 together, and 2 knits again. So let's begin. Knit 2, knit 1, and knit 2. And now in order to create the eyelet, we have to go to peg 8, where knit 3 together is knitted. So here is peg 8. Lift the stitch, bring the stitch on peg 7, place it on peg 8, and replace the original stitch of peg 8 back. And then start shifting the stitches toward the left side. We will shift 5 stitches in the first layer. We will shift 5 stitches. One more to shift. Sorry, not 5, it's actually 4. I keep getting confused between these layers. And now there are 2 stitches on peg 8. We need 3 stitches here, and a yarn over on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So move 2 stitches here, and now there is a yarn over on peg 3, and there is a yarn over on peg 5. 6, 7 are unit, and there are knit 3 together on peg peg 8, and 9 and 10 are units. So this is how we have set up the row. Start knitting. We have already knitted knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2, and unit 2, and then knit 3 together, and then unit 2. This completes the eyelet row 5. Row 7 now, which is the last eyelet row. On row 8, eyelets are on peg 4 and peg 6, and knit 3 together is on peg 10. And the row starts by knitting 3 units, unit 1, unit 2, and unit 3. Then we are going to go straight to the last peg, where we are knitting knit 3 together. We'll once again just see how I lift the stitch from this peg, bring the stitch from peg 9, place it on peg 10, and then place the peg 10 stitch back. And then now in this row we will move 5 stitches, because after knitting 3 and moving a stitch for K3 together, there are 5 stitches remaining. We will move all of it. And on peg 4 is an empty peg for eyelet. We have to create empty peg on peg 6 as well. So for that, the next set of shifting begins, and we will shift 3 pegs. 1, have to have 3 pegs here, 2 and 3. So now the peg on 6 is empty for eyelet. See, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, empty peg, then there is knit, then there is again an empty peg for yarn over, knit 3 and knit 3 together. This is the row setup, and now I will knit this. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over and knit 3. And when you are knitting laces, the working yarn is to be kept real loose. Don't tug or pull it. Knit 3, and this 8 row is complete. The next row will be all unit, and this is a wonderful panel. You can this is on the scarf here on my pattern. You can use this in a blanket, or on a front panel of a sweater or a cowl, or on a mitten, or even on socks. It's going to look good. So yeah, I hope all of you follow it and come up with some pretty designs. Happy looming, everyone. All right, so this scarf is knitted now. It is a 68-inch, and almost after blocking, it is more than 10 inches in width, and it is 68 inches long. And I have knitted a patch pocket. That is, the pocket was knitted separately. There is this motif, like I showed you in the first part of the video, that the pocket is knitted as a separate part, and then it is attached from the top. If you see this seam, it is attached, it is stitched from the right side, and it is stitched all these 3 sides, this one and this left side and the right side, and here is the pocket. It's a beautiful pocket scarf, and the scarf is now blocked with a nice panel of leaves running in a garter setting. And these garter setting gives a good frame for this leaf pattern. After blocking, this leaf pattern is open, and it is more defined now. So I am going to demonstrate in this video how to attach this pocket. I have already attached this part, and now I have these 2 ends to stitch. See. So for this, I'll take, this was a tail which is remaining from when I was knitting. When I finished the knitting on this part, I left a long tail, so I don't have to, attach another one. If somehow you, couldn't leave a tail, no, it doesn't matter, you can attach it later. Now, so, see, I have a tapestry needle, and I have threaded it here, and I will knit like this. I'll be knitting it, these 2 edges will be knitted, joined together like this, and you see there are these V of the edges. I'll thread the needle on one V and bring it to the next one and keep stitching like this. This is basically, this will finally end up looking like a weave. It won't look as if you have knitted it from the top separately. It would appear as if it's part of your knitting. and I knit, if anything I have to knit from the top, I knit it like this, and these are mostly knitted when I'm stitched like that, when I'm knitting making folding a pocket, or when I am joining the sides of a cushion. It looks good this way because the weave, or this panel, or this fabric is a little thick with nice neat edge. And if I knit it other way around and then open it or then turn it around, it wouldn't look so neat from the sides. And this way a very neat side comes, and it is strong as well. See, and we will I'm going to knit both of these edges like this side and this side, joining these two edges. And if you look this pocket here, it is on a garter background with this 4-leaf motif, and then this end is knit to pearl one, so it very nicely, it is like a rectangle, like a ridge formed like at the end of the finishing of pocket, and it looks a very neat pocket scarf.